In the spirit of the return of America's pastime, we welcome a very special guest to the Sports Corner this morning. He's one of the golden voices of baseball, but he's made his mark not only in longevity, but across the four major sports, along the way becoming arguably the greatest sportscaster of all time. And to top it off, Bob Wolff, one of only two men to be enshrined in the National Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown and the Basketball Hall in Springfield, Mass., has a new book out telling you how you can do it too. Bob, welcome to the Sports Corner.
Thank you.
If you can, tell us a little bit about this wonderful book that shares the secrets of an art form that you say is part journalism, part theater, and part entertainment.
If I had somebody around me all the time who kept using flattering words like you've just done, that's all you have to have in your background, you know. But as far as what I've done on this book, I've sort of revealed what we really do, you and I together and the other sportscasters around the country. And let's put it this way. If you were watching a football, baseball, or basketball game, and there was no sportscaster, all you'd be watching are people running back and forth, in hockey, just skating back and forth on the ice, and you say, it's sort of boring, this game. There'd be a little crowd roar. Now, NBC many years ago decided they were going to try an experiment, and they were going to do a game without sports announcers. They tried it once. That was it. It was just horrible, because the sportscasters have this important message that they do. They enhance the game. They really make the games exciting. And on a sports show like your show, you make it entertaining. So in reality, we're not journalists, although we use words. We provide information, identification, but what we really do is enhance. We help the gamers become good.
Bob, this interview for me, of course, in my opinion, is a little intimidating because you're, again, one of the greatest of all time. And to have to read this book and now live up to this, all the things that you try to teach me, now being the learned person here with some of the chapters. And one of the ones that stands out for me is your chapter on the art of interviewing. And you say that it's kind of gone. Do you think it's ever going to come back?
Well, what used to take place in radio and TV is that when some newcomer broke into the field, particularly a big-name ball player, they'd say, well, what are we going to do with them? Well, let them do interviews. They chose exactly the wrong people, because the big-name ball players have spent their lives answering questions. They never had asked a question in their life. People saying, how do you make the touchdown? How do you throw the pitch? What do you do? And those who got on, they'd ask questions like, are you happy you won? You sad you lost? Come on, please. I remember one game, there was one of the interviewers was Bob Gibson, great ball player. And at the time he was interviewing a young guy who had pitched a no-hitter. And he said, now my question is, will you go in and ask for a raise? Well, he should have been exulting with the young guy who just done something big. So they turned the conversation into something more of a financial matter. So there's one criterion you need to be a good interviewer. Only one.
Curiosity.
Huh?
Curiosity?
Yeah, how do you know that?
I read the book.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, if you're curious about people and what they do, if you're curious why the manager called that play, why the coach put in the substitute, and you ask, that's what the viewer wants to know. Curiosity is all you have to do.
Well, our fans in the Bronx should be very curious about this call because, in my opinion, one of the best of all time. What you're about to hear is from Game 5 of 1956, Don Larsen's perfect game. Check this out. Bob Wolff on the mic.
2 strikes and a ball to Mitchell with 2 away in the top of this 9th inning. Larsen looks in. Here comes the pitch. Fouled off to the left. 2 strikes and a ball. The count remains to Mitchell. Mitchell waiting, stands deep, feet close together. Larsen is ready, gets the sign. Strike 3! A no-hitter, a perfect game for Don Larsen. Yogi Berra runs out there.
Bob, that was the final out of Game 5, and of course I think a lot of fans will probably forget that series goes 7 games, which I know made more money for you going 7 games, because you talk about that in the book at that time, wanting the series to go a little bit longer. But what do you remember most about that incredible ball game and that incredible 7-game series?
Well, first, I was so lucky to get that assignment. Second, I did the second half of the game, which was where all the excitement was, of course. But I do remember this, that I kept saying to myself coming down the home stretch, don't start talking about what may happen, because you'll be getting off track. Don't plan your last line, just let it happen. And every pitch, I felt my arm was pitching with Don Larsen. I had a sore arm for a week after that game. I remember that.
And you say that you never bring up the word perfect game until that climactic moment of that final out.
I believe that many people were superstitious. Why anger them by all of a sudden saying it's a no-hitter, and boom, a hit was made, and they'll say back to the announcer, why don't he keep his big mouth shut, that guy? You can say it many other ways. You can say 21 out in a row, only guys on base have been the Yankees, et cetera, et cetera. You tell the same story without antagonizing.
You've been on with Brandon Steiner and the Yes Network and many times talked about that incredible game. How does it compare, in your opinion, to Roy Halladay's no-hitter in this past postseason, since they now are the only two to throw no-hitters in postseason history?
It's a record that can never be broken. It can be tied, right?
Well,
Halladay tied. He's a great pitcher.
Of course. Now, for me, this book is, these two are my favorites. This is your fourth book. Why did you decide to do the complete guide to sportscasting now?
Because the publisher, Skyhorse, liked that title because he feels like kids ought to learn about the business. I like the subtitle, How to Make It in Sportscasting with or Without Talent, because I don't think you need talent. I think you need hard work, good breaks, and a plan of attack as to how you're going to rise above the others. It has nothing to do with ability. It has to do with promoting yourself and all the good breaks you can make for yourself.
One of the things that you do, you start every chapter with basically a myth and a truth. One of the things that you say in the book is that you think it's better to start in a big city. Could you explain a little bit more about that, especially for our youngsters in the Bronx that might want to be sportscasters someday?
Because if you go 1,000 miles away, 2,000 miles away, then you got to work all your way back. You might as well start where you want to be and try to get something close by so you're right there when there's a big opening.
Of course. Some of the other points that you make too, I like the idea that you say that achievers are self-taught, some of the keys to a great resume reel. But what would be your best advice that you would offer a young person trying to make it in the business?
Understand that the business is selling yourself quite as well as what you do. And if you can be different in what you do, and it stands out, if you're different in that way, that by itself is enough. If 40 people are applying for a job and they all sound the same and use the same material, the guy who is different, or the girl, that's the winner.
And then final question from me. I mean, we brought up some of the fact that this book is not only a guide but also a memoir for you, and both of these books kind of tell your great, incredible story. But if you had to, what's the greatest moment in your career? And would it be at Yankee Stadium, one of those two great games,
Well,
whether it's
that
the
was the
56
most
World Series or the
historical
58
moment,
championship?
and the Colts Giants were historical. But I think the greatest moment was really getting a chance to do what I wanted to do. I got the chance at a very early age when I was still in college. I was able to become a pro announcer at the same time.
Unbelievable. Bob Wolff's latest is available at all major retailers and online at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, and through the publisher at SkyHorsePublishing.com. 72 years in the business, 27 as the voice of the Knicks, 20 as the voice of the Rangers, the last 25 at News 12 Long Island. In between over 9 decades, the biggest and the best sporting events, Bob Wolff has been behind the mic for them all. The only sportscaster to call all 4 major championships, baseball great, and Bob's former broadcasting partner, Joe Garagiola, said it best. Complete is a Bob Wolff word. The young can learn and the old can enjoy. This book has it all. Thank you for being on the air, Bob. And tomorrow and Sunday, you will be at the Westchester County Center signing autographs for this book. And I'm going to cut the line, folks, and I'm going to get Bob to sign it today. Thanks for watching.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it very much.